Today, I have a great Islay whiskey to review from Lagavulin, but this is no good. This is an empty box. I need an actual whiskey, so this is useless. That's not the right Lagavulin. And that's an Islay Scotch that starts with La, but it's not Lagavulin, and it's been reviewed before. And that's also a Lefroy. I've reviewed that one too. That's not going to do any good. Well, that's an Ardbeg. That's not even close. Yes, that's another Ardbeg, also been reviewed here before, and that's nothing. Give me something. I need something. That's a rocks glass. What's a rocks glass going to do for me? That's no good. Now you're just being childish. Huzzah! Let's do this. Welcome to Whisky Riffs. I'm Kevin. Sometimes it's really hard to get your hands on the right bottle of whiskey. In fact, I'm a little scared to put this one down. I think I'll just hold on to it. So this is the Lagavulin Distillers Edition. And it is distilled in 2003, bottled in 2019. That would suggest it's a 16-year whiskey, which it actually is, but there's no age statement on this bottle. My guess is they don't want to confuse it with their other 16-year expression. And that makes sense because this is different bottling than normal. They do one of these per year. It says double matured on it. That means they put it in a series of Pedro Jimenez casks for a second aging. And then they get annual releases for the Distillers Edition. This actually may be older than 16 years. It says 2003. I don't know if all the casks came from 2003, but you know, it has a good age to it. And you know, it's kind of nice to be able to have the distillers pick various casks and choose them for special bottling. This is going to be more sherried, and it's going to have more intense flavors because of the second maturation in the casks, in the sherry casks. They do label each one of these with a batch number. This one is batch 4/508. Now Lagavulin is owned by Diageo, which is a massive company that owns over, I don't know, 16 or so different distilleries. And they also have a website, I think it's malts.com is the parent website, that kind of umbrellas all their other distillery websites, which is a little frustrating because I couldn't even pull this particular bottle up on the Lagavulin website. It showed it at one spot and I clicked the link and the page was gone. So it's really hard sometimes when you have these massive distilleries, even though Lagavulin is a respected Islay distillery and I trust them because they're kind of controlled by a parent company. Some of the things they get to do are not in their hands. Maybe they'd like their own website with more information, do deep dives on what casks were put into this, and they can't because Diageo has taken that over. So it was a little frustrating trying to do research on this bottle. If you have experience with the Lagavulin Distillers Edition, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you had the 2019? What years have you tried? Let me know in the comments or hit me up on Twitter. Let's go ahead and pour this bad boy. Get this started. I think after I have a glass with some whiskey in it, I won't have to worry about the snatching of the bottles and the flipping around here that I had to put up with earlier. Stay. Let's see what we got. Ooh. This is an Islay Scotch, which means there's usually smoke and peat. With Lagavulin, I don't know if they make an unpeated edition. I think all their scotches are peated. And it does have that Lagavulin nose to it. But it also has a really deep, rich color which is a little darker than other Lagavulins I've had, and that comes from the extra maturation in Pedro Jimenez sherry cask. That's going to give you more flavors, it's going to give you more color, but it's a light nose. You can definitely get the maltiness on it, some raisin notes, certainly the little hint of peat and smoke, sweetness from the sherry, but it's not overly, it doesn't attack you. Yeah, this is 43% ABV, so it is not a high intensity alcohol level, which is probably why the nose is a little bit more tame. On the taste, I'm getting that spiciness from the peat and the smoke, the wood grain. You can definitely taste the wood in this. You know, a slight hint of vanilla, not really strong. Again, with the raisins and the normal flavors you get with a sherry casking. It does fill your mouth with a sweetness, with that the cherry, and it's a consistent Lagavulin flavor. I think they're 16 without this heavy sherry influence has some more notes to it. The sherry casking really takes over as far as Lagavulins. When I normally have a Lagavulin 8 or a 16, I like the variety of flavors. I like the little more dryness to it, where this sweetness is really taking over and making it a very different whiskey. The finish is pretty long. It's not as intense right away. I think after you let it sit for a couple seconds, then you start to really feel the lingering of the finish. Definitely got a lot of oak spice initially, a lot of fruitiness, and then I'm kind of left with kind of a dryness. It really is drying my mouth out. Could be that I just haven't drank enough water today. I have no idea. But I really like this. I like the sweetness. Even though this is just at 43%, I am going to add some water to it because I'm interested in seeing what that does to the sherry flavors, and I'm interested to see if this is oily enough to change the nose on it and also give me a bit more of maybe the Islay smoke and peat back. Ardbeg for me is campfire-ish, where Lagavulin is more of a straight peat smoke. I don't get as much brine, I don't get as much saltiness. There is some of that there because you are on Islay, but it's not as intense. So the water does cut down the heat. It takes a little of that oak spice away. It takes a little bit of the sweetness off the nose. I'm getting more spice on the nose and less sweetness. So maybe there are some good oils pushing up there and kind of shoving that peaty spiciness in my nose. Kind of makes it less complex, less fun for me. I think 43% is the right level to bottle this at, so I wouldn't throw water in this. I mean, you do as you like. This is your bottle of whiskey. When you're drinking it, you drink it any way you like to drink it. Throw ice in, pour Coke in it. Just don't tell me. Just keep it to yourself. Pour Coke in a cheap bottle of bourbon. I think this is a good bottle. I definitely will look at it again. I am curious how much it changes from year to year. I haven't had one of the other ones. I think I grabbed this because it was on a special deal or I saw it pop up. I think the Lagavulin 16 is probably the hallmark. That's what you go for when you want to taste what does an Islay whiskey taste like. Lagavulin 16. It's just the one that defined it for me, and one of the early ones that I tasted before I knew much about Islay whiskey. And then I went to a Lafroig 10 and it blew all what I thought out of the water and part of my brain, and that's why I ramble sometimes. I blame it on Lafroig 10 at a young age of 50? I don't know. If you're enjoying these videos, give me a like, please subscribe. Thank you to everyone who's been subscribing and building this community. It's been really appreciated. And if you have any comments, I'm always open to those. I'm happy to chat about whiskey on Twitter or in the YouTube comments below. And until our next episode, take care of those around you, and cheers.